Hey everyone, this is JDAWG and I'm here with another video. So, now I know this is June 19th, but that was when I updated the list. My boxing pound for pound list, that is. Due to recent events and boxing matches. Oh, and by the way, this is another edition of JDAWG Sports. For those of you who are new, this is where I talk about topics related to sports, or at least most or some topics related to sports. I decided to put it in my new segment, JDAWG Sports. This is for all the new people. So today, we're going to talk about my updated pound for pound list. My pound for pound boxing list. I may do pound for lists for other sports, like revolving around the top ranking athletes, current athletes in different sports. May even do pound for pound for MMA or something. Plus, I might do a heavyweights for the top heavyweights. As you would know, that recently I've made people may not know, but recently I've decided to make the decision: no heavyweights on the my pound for pound list. Instead, to be fair, number one, the highest weight class you must be to be allowed on the pound for pound list is cruiserweight. And number two, heavyweights will have their own rankings list. That regardless of whatever division, heavyweight, women's, men's, heavyweight will have their own ranking division. Which means if you are a boxer and you leave the cruiserweight division to go to the heavyweight division, you are automatically removed from the list and you will have to work to rank in the heavyweights lists. So also don't expect to be put on the list right away. You will have to work hard in number of matches to be put back on a rankings list. So if you are a boxer leaving the weight division, which will be the highest to be allowed on the pound for pound list, you're putting your risk of not being ranked until you have proven yourself in the heavyweight division. But anyway, let's talk about this recent updated list. As you should know, several new fighters. Technically not new. There's maybe a couple new fighters, but several new spots. Several fighters have been put in different spots on the list. There's only been a number that have stayed the same. Of course, Katie Taylor and Carissa Shields, they remain in the same spot. Especially Carissa Shields. She is still currently in the number one spot for women's boxing. They are planning an upcoming fight with Savannah Marshall. Carissa Shields is about to be involved with the upcoming fight with Savannah Marshall. So we'll see if that will help her. If Carissa Shields wins that fight, she will regain her status as undisputed. She's now only just unified in the women's division and the middleweight division of the women's division, because she was stripped of some of her belts, or she vacated them on her own. And because Savannah Marshall only has one belt, has the only belt that Carissa Shields needs to regain her status as undisputed, which is the WBO middleweight belt. That's what the belt that Savannah Marshall has. If Carissa Shields beats Savannah Marshall, her status as undisputed will be restored. Now, what you may notice is one new fighter is now on my women's pound for pound list, and she goes by the name of Marla Esperozza. She is currently at number 9, one above Alicia Baumgard, who only is at number 10 because she's only been in 11 fights, and the only real accomplishment was that Alicia Baumgard has sorry if I pronounced the name wrong, only accomplishment was the WBC. Meanwhile, Marla Esperozza, she has won 12 fights, 1 loss, 1 knockout, and she has heavy accomplishments in the flyweight division, which is the 112 in the women's division. Her recent fights has resulted in her winning the WBC, the WBA, and the Ring magazine title for the women's flyweight division. While Alyssa Baumgard is in the super featherweight or junior lightweight divisions. A fighter who has moved up in rank that has always been in the women's pound for pound list is Frantron Cruz. Her recent victory over who was the opponent she defeated? It was a Swedish female boxer. Oh yes, Elaine Corderos. And only suffering from 1 loss, 1 no contest, and basically despite only winning 8 matches, Frantron Cruz is now undisputed. I talked about Frantron Cruz in recent videos. She is now in 3rd place because of being only in fewer matches and having 1 loss, which is why Katie Taylor is above Frantron Cruz. But because I go by accomplishments, top-notch opponents, and win-loss records. But still, the accomplishments and the top-notch competition of Frantron Cruz has immediately put her in 3rd place in my pound-for-pound list. So congratulations to Frantron Cruz has went through adversity. After what happened, she was nearly almost cheated out of a match. Fortunately, she got her belts back because the fighter she fought was caught with PEDs and may not even been allowed to compete, not only in her weight class but also in the division, because there has been allegations against that fighter because of, let's just say, gender is being questioned, regardless to the opponent of Frantron Cruz. So that opponent got disqualified, and Frantron Cruz got her belts back under the rules, and she ended up fighting the Swedish fighter that I mentioned earlier, Elaine Corderos, and now Frantron Cruz is now undisputed, and that's why I said that Frantron Cruz went through adversity and now comes back strong as a undisputed female boxing champion. I believe Frantron Cruz is the first in the super middleweight division, in the women's division of the super women's division, to be undisputed. Of course, I think Michaela has also been moved, because I think Michaela Mayer was originally in 6th or 7th place, but because of her recent victories, she is now in 5th. Chantella Cameron is in 6th. Kala Rezi is in. And the reason, and now there was a down ranking recently. The only person who had to move down in her weight in the list is Amanda Serrano. She's a good fighter, but unfortunately, she was actually placed a lot higher. She's now currently in 8th, because she was actually placed in, I believe, 6th or 7th. But because Katie Taylor, the person who's in pound for pound at number 2, defeated Amanda Serrano, though not kicked off the list, however, did suffer to be demoted from on the list, meaning she had to go down a couple rankings. And the only reason why she's above the other two is because the other two have not done much to go above Amanda Serrano, which they have a chance pretty soon by continuing to fight, especially Alicia Baumgarten. If she can get a fight with Michaela Mayer and actually win, because they're now trying to make that fight. If she beats Michaela Mayer, Alicia Baumgarten can actually move up on the rankings list. Maybe not too far, but good enough because she's beaten a top fighter. I mean, you'll be surprised how far Alicia Baumgarten can move up. But as for Amanda Serrano, she is trying to get a rematch with Katie Taylor and see if she can also move up by beating Katie Taylor if she can. But that is all for the women's pound for pound list. Congratulations to all the females and making my JDAWG's pound for pound women's boxing list as of June 19th. This, reason why I'm bringing up, I know it's not June 19th. That's been passed by those, but this is because this is when I officially updated the list. Now we will go to the men's list. Due to recent activities, including several couple fighters winning undisputed, Jamel has surpassed Errol Spence Jr. And he is now number 2 on my pound for pound list. BSNBC has decided not to put him on the list. And Devin Haney was on the list, but they removed him. Speaking of Devin Haney, he is now at number 4. I believe he was at number 6 or number 8. Anywhere between those numbers. He's now at number 4. Because he too is now become undisputed. They fought fighters such as Brian Castanos and George Kambosos Jr. And with the help of them being, Devin Haney's still undefeated. Jamel only has 1 loss, but because he's been fighting top-notch competition and involved with accomplishments like becoming undisputed, although it's usually the top-notch competition, high-rank competition that actually ranks you up on the list. Jamel Charlo and Devin Haney have both move up on the list. Same as Shakur Stevens and Stephen Fulton. They are both unified champions. They have fought top-notch competition, especially Stephen Fulton. Shakur Stevens has also fought top-notch competition. His recent victory was over a Mexican fighter by the name of Oscar Valdez and has become unified. He holds 3 belts, 2 sanctioning bodies, and the one being a magazine called The Ring Magazine. With the fact that I have removed heavyweight off the list and one Alexander Usyk, because like I said before, I'm no longer doing heavyweights on the pound for pound list. Several fighters, or at least one fighter, has ranked up, and also because of his recent victory, Arthur Beterbiev, forgive me if I pronounce his name wrong, is now at number 10. He is a unified light heavyweight champion. Sorry for those who were Demetrius Bivol fans. Despite the fact that Demetrius Bivol has beaten Canelo Alvarez, I think if I was to do a top 20 list, I think Demetrius Bivol might end up like in 11th or 12th place. Because that's as far as he's gone. He needs at least one more fight to convince me to be put on the pound for pound list. Arthur Beterbiev, he's been dominant throughout most of his career, short-lived career. And now what's going to happen is Arthur Beterbiev is hoping to get undisputed by facing Demetrius Bivol. And then also he might be fighting a fighter named Anthony Yarde, hoping that these two fights might help him go up on the list, but that depends on what happens with the other competition. Josh Taylor was higher on the list, but because of the recent victories of Gervonta Tank Davis, Shakur Stevens, Stephen Fulton, and Devin Haney, it has caused him to go down in the list. So Josh Taylor now resides at number 9. He's now, his status as undisputed has been demoted after losing one of his belts through a strip or vacancy. So he's now just a unified champion. But that's not the reason why he was demoted. It was the other fighters doing better fights to help move them up. So, yeah. This is my men's pound for pound list, if I have not announced it. This is the men's pound for pound list, by the way. But yeah, Terrence Crawford is still at number 1. Errol Spence has also moved down. So, I think he was at number 2. Or I think he's still the same at number 3. So, yep. So, and right now they're trying to get a fight between Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence. And whoever wins that fight has the opportunity to move up or stay up. When I mean by stay up, mean stay up on top of the list. If Errol Spence beats Terrence Crawford, he can move up all the way to number 1. But that is once the fight is made. But that is the men's pound for pound list. Congratulations to the men that made it to the pound for pound list. Another reason why I'm doing this list is because a lot of people are not happy with one of the pound for pound lists, the one that ESPN has done. People are saying that there's racism and screw jobs with that pound for pound list. This is why a lot of people, including myself, are creating our own pound for pound lists and showing them to the world of who we think is considered pound for pound. We're tired of allowing the lamestream media determine who is pound for pound, so we are creating our own lists. And no, this is not a favorite current fighter. This is because Josh Taylor is not one of my favorite fighters, but the reason why he's on the list is because he's actually at least fighting the top-notch competition to be deserving of pound for pound. Same with Arthur Beterbiev. But anyway, this is who I believe is pound for pound. Every once in a while, I will talk about my list again, especially if things have changed. But we have to see, because we have these fighters, some of them are going to be in upcoming fights pretty soon that could help them or unfortunately hurt them, but hopefully help them more. But that's all I have to say. Write down in the comment section what you think, and do you have your own pound for pound list? Do you have your own pound for pound list? Write down your pound for pound list in the description box. I mean, not in the description box, in the comment section. Also, like, share this video, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and hit that notification bell. That's all I have to say for now. Thank you for watching, and I hope to catch y'all in another video. And this has been another edition of JDAWG Sports.